All right, let's get into it.
All right, I will just for the sake of the original request. Oi, great spirit.
Welcome to Casuals of Runeterra, another special comic book episode. I'm your host, Ryan, here the other host, Hash.
Yeah, and I am super excited to still keep diving into our Yunara comics because I love the comics. Like, I'm always here for comics. Let's go.
Yeah, we're making good on our promise to finally bring you additional Yunara content to fill out our review of Yunara. So yeah, we're going to be touching on the Devoted Shrine Maiden comic. Before we do, though, housekeeping. So, and also I have, you can probably hear I'm a little nasally. I'm on the other side of a cold. So I may be a little...
I think you sound beautiful, man.
Oh, thanks, man. And with that, we're going to have some voice acting, which we haven't done in a while.
Oh, God.
Back in our Arcane Season 1 episodes. Go check those out for the side content we did in the conscripts. But yeah, housekeeping. You can listen to us everywhere. Visit us at podcastcore.com for all of our info. Email us at podcastcore@gmail.com. I need to check that. It's been a minute. If you want to get in contact with us, follow us on all the platforms. That helps us with discoverability. We appreciate it. And leave a like and comment wherever you listen the most. We appreciate that. But word of mouth has gotten us this far. So tell a friend to become a day one ride or die by listening to the Casuals of Runeterra podcast.
Yeah, that's right. That's how serious these Yunara comics are about to
get. So, as I mentioned, we're talking about a comic today, and essentially it goes into the story that is the divine or the Devoted Shrine Maiden, where it's not really touched on much in her bio. We just know her as that title. This is written by, oh man, I should have practiced this one. A new author, Kristina Atanasoski. Atanasoski, I think.
Yeah.
Atanasoski? Listen.
Kristina
A. Great minds. Art done by Kudos production again. We've talked about them. If you play Riftbound the card game, you've seen their art there. You've seen their art in Legends of Runeterra for the old heads. And they do a great job as always. And this one, it appears like it's a long comic. It's not. It's just mostly visuals. The story's pretty short, and we'll cover that in 3 parts as we best do. Even though that third part's a bit of a stretch there. It's doing a lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah, and Kristina, I just want to go ahead and tell you that I empathize with your pain as someone with a last name that made preschool a nightmare. I get it, and I'm sorry, but you are going to be Kristina A.
All right, let's hop into it. All great stories told in 3 parts. We start with part 1, which is a narrator, unknown. Possibly this is, Zinzao reading this scroll or referencing this in Demacia, or somebody teaching this in Demacia from the archives. But the narrator starts with the scroll containing the story of the Shrine Maiden. And we go back to an enlightened, Kanmei spirit guarding Kanmei spirits guarding the first lands. And it's a time of peace where mortals live in harmony with the spirit realm.
And we did get to touch very slightly on the Kanmei before, specifically with like our episodes following Shin, and a little bit with Yasuo, but it really pops up a lot more into, pops up more outside of their stories. But like this is like old school Ionian spiritual beliefs, and this is where we get to see a lot of the masks that are used in the Ionian culture, as well as that the spirits wear. So that's going to be seen more in those stories, but this is that time frame is what we're looking at with the beginning of this story.
Yeah, And unfortunately, we've heard this before, right? And often in times of peace, unrest is looming on the horizon, literally. And this unrest appears in the form of corruptible spirits. And these are spirits that begin to be absorbed by the human vices like pride, desire, vengeance, despite their hubris that they can't, right? They think, "Oh, I'm a spirit, I'm above this," but they fall into it, and the result of that is they then gain followers who are misguided mortals that pledge fealty to these now corrupted spirits in hopes of gaining more vices like wealth, power, and influence.
Yeah, and like to steal a direct line from the comic itself, it is the ones that are centered around pride, desire, vengeance, and as soon as like you start hearing that there are mortals who are signing up in hopes of sharing in that wealth and vengeance, things usually go bad.
Yeah, and unlike and unfortunately, or similar to, sorry, unfortunately, our real world, no good deed goes unpunished, where they get the benefits. They get exactly what they were hoping for. These mortals are rewarded for their bad behavior, and it comes at the cost of their principles and their soul. And this then affects the first lands, which fall into chaos and begin to burn. And that's where part one ends.
And it's nice as far as the way that this is written because it's definitely written more as like almost like a children's story, but like it's written like the oral telling of a history. Like it's not exactly what happened, but it does spell out what happened and it leaves it a bit open to interpretation. So this would be like talking to like native tribes as far as like what their history is, and the oral telling of it has kind of transcended more into a bit of a legend that is painting the picture of what happened. Because we do kind of know what this is about, which is the Runic Wars, and the Runic
Yep.
Wars sucked. Check out our Aatrox episode.
The beginning of all things. So part two starts off with this brave shrine maiden emerging and humbly journeying to the top of her temple in search of a way to save her people. And she's praying to a patron Kanme, so specifically for her temple, looking for a way to restore peace to the First Lands.
And as far as like the comic itself, like when we get over to like looking at the maiden, it is one, they do not kind of cut any quarters of saying who the shrine maiden might be. Nah, this Yunara, like 100%. But like again, like
Yeah.
when you're looking at like an oral history, a lot of the names are lost over time, right? But the it's very much Yunara, but it does stick to like the same art style. So it really gives off this feeling of like opening up a book and reading that story.
Exactly. And now we'll get into
Oh no.
our shrine maiden's essential venom moment, where she's pleading to the spirit, and this spirit is also doing so to her, but it's within her as a vessel, right? The spirit doesn't have a vessel. And we're just going to read this passage because it's pretty cool how it's done and to represent it. And Hetch and I want to do some voice acting. So
I thought my voice acting days were over.
lead us off, Hetch. I'm interested to see what voice he goes with.
You made a special request. I don't know why you're
There's no
interested.
way. All right, let's get into it.
All right, I will just for the sake of the original request. Oi, great spirit.
Okay. I'm locked in.
Oh, great spirit, foul beings have brought war and misery to my home.
This is not my concern.
But they kill and they corrupt. Everything is ruined.
There are worse sins.
But they proclaim themselves Kanme, yet they lack the splendor and virtue of your kind.
Oh?
Yes, Ruin comes even to those who worship them. The smallest votive offering is enough to set them upon a path to destruction.
This cannot stand. Your devotion will be rewarded, maiden, but in return, my enemies will become yours.
All right, imagine my Super Saiyan eyes. Your enemies are my enemies.
We shall see. All right, and scene. So yeah, she's
Oi,
essentially
you
having.
con meg!
Oh, great spirit! Foul beings. Yeah, so she's having this conversation within her, and then finally sealing the pact, which is what follows. That's the official pact being sealed, and they become one. And then they set out across the first land, essentially punishing all those who defiled the sacred balance.
And I'm even though like this is kind of like illustrated and laid out to look more like a children's story and to match that oral history vibe,
Yeah.
I'm very impressed with like the pages immediately following our Venom scene of the amount of Sakuga that we get. Like it is
Yeah.
like it definitely makes it a another comic that we can highly suggest to go read on in your own time. It's really not that long, but it's beautifully illustrated,
Yeah.
and like they're going out there and kicking ass.
I forgot what this paneling style is, right? It's definitely Eastern historic. I just don't remember the exact term for it.
I'd be
Uh,
lying if I knew.
yeah, it's like a layering of patterns and styles, almost like cutouts. But yeah, so this later becomes known officially as the War of the False Kanmei, and they purge essentially all the dark spirits and their followers, and the land is restored to peace and heals alongside the people.
And that like as far as like the way that like again like viewing it more like a oral history, like remember that this is like the talking about like the runic wars, but as far as like every culture is going to experience the war in a different way. Like we get to see that in our own history with things like World War I,
Yep.
World War II is what we refer to it nowadays in North America. But like if you're in Finland, it's what was it, the War of Secession, I
Hmm.
think, or the Great Secession. And then you also have like World War I. No one expected a two, so they called it the Great War. Like
Yep.
it changes over time because of the experiences that you have there. And for the Ionians experiencing the runic wars, for them it was a war of the false Kanmei, these
Hmm.
false spirits that are trying to take over Ionia and using the beliefs of the people there to their own devices.
Exactly. Perfectly explained. And this takes us to part three, where afterwards, and part three is really just one main scene over a couple panels. Very well done. And so afterwards, the spirit reveals to the maiden that he has deceived her in all of this. And in truth, he is no different from those they defeated, but he thought that if he helped her cleanse them, then it would help him overcome his true nature. That is not the case, because now that he's the only one remaining, there are no enemies left. Therefore, he is the only enemy to all. And he must now punish himself by leaving the realm to really complete this cycle.
And like again, like the way that the storytelling is shown here is very well done because we get like just one frame where it is this Kanmei while he's confessing that he's deceived Yunara, he's taking his mask off
Yeah,
while having this conversation, and that echoes as far as the importance of like the mask culture in Ionia and the way that the spirit world is presented to them as spirits always being behind a mask.
hmm,
And for that again, like it would be our Shin, Yasuo, and the mainly the Yasuo because we haven't really done a deep dive into Yone,
yeah,
but like the Yone story is hinged upon the way that masks are viewed in the Ionian culture.
hmm,
And it's really nice to see that, like, even though it's just one frame, we get to see that here. And it really does give the feeling of like this is a very important part of our history here.
Yep, and this gives us the tying thread between our previous comic and this is the Shrine Maiden refuses to abandon this spirit on this journey and actually chooses to join him in exile, but is always contemplating that decision ever since. And that's kind of takes us to what we understand that like Zinzao understands, right, of the story, the general points that the Shrine Maiden made this sacrifice after this duty was done. And that's where our story
And,
ends.
and well, before like we wrap
Yeah,
that
yeah.
story up, like the very last panels are all like over one view,
Mhm.
but it is kind of tying like this oral history into what Zinzao is experiencing now, except in the spirit realm, because we get to see the lost shrine in the
Mhm.
spirit realm. We get to see a disturbance in the spirit realm, and Yunara's reaction to what the hell is that?
Yeah.
Like, and this that's clearly showing that it's like this is like the current timeline in the spirit realm right now, and what Yunara is experiencing while Zinzao is retelling himself this story alongside Kennen and the real Runeterra world right now. So it, even though it's like panel wise, it's not a lot of change. Like that's what's wrapping it up here. And so like now it's like it definitely is ending on a point where it's like Yunar is about to come into Zinzao's story now.
Exactly. And this, that's the end of that. But the general discussion here is the thing that this does is gives us one cohesive chunk of Yunara's story, right? It's the most important part because it feeds what the story is in the history of Ionia and the story that's told to children, told to people that everyone understands. This is a good knowledge point that brings it all together. Is how did this all start, right? What makes her so important? What makes her pivotal? And this is a good piece of that puzzle that we have post bio. So the plan next is to cover, not in this episode, the next episode will be a unique one because it's going to bridge us between 2 points, but it's not a comic. It's not an in-game comic. It's more of an event that happened in game.
Yeah.
And we're going to try our best to figure out how to morph that into a cohesive narrative that will help us get to the next one. Because if we just jump to the next comic, there'll be a gap there, and we think we can pull it off. You think? How about you, Hesh? Do you think us
uh,
as historians have the
I
expertise to?
like I'm confident that we're going to have fun attempting to pull it off.
Yeah.
Because it is something that I'm looking forward to, because it is going to be a bit of a challenge
Yep.
that is different than what we've done. And like, I always enjoy that kind of thing. So I'm confident that we're going to have fun with it. But as far as, what the actual execution looks like, hopefully you guys will just let us know. Like, if it's like, let us know if you liked it, like, podcastcore@gmail.com. And like, because at the end of the day, like, we want to make something that you guys enjoy too.
Yep.
But this will be one of those ones where it's like, I'm gonna have fun with it. I don't really care if y'all enjoy it or not. This could be fun.
I'm gonna party. Hope you party too, right? All right. So we'll keep it short because it is short. So with that, as always, thanks for listening, and we'll be back soon with more of these episodes. We're gonna fill these stories out. We promised.
Yeah, we promise. But until then, take care, everyone.